no friend to me. Wage a war, wage a war, wage a war, wage a war against mediocrity. It ain't no friend to me. Wage a war, wage a war, wage a war, wage a war against mediocrity. It ain't no friend to me. Wage a war, wage a war, wage a war, wage a war against mediocrity. It ain't no friend to me.
We are waging war on mediocrity. It ain't no friend of me. It's your boy, the motivational teacher to the masses, bringing you again another edition of these Motivational Mondays. Woo! I hope you all had a very positive day. I hope everything went exactly the way you wanted. If not, we overcame it. Welcome to these Motivational Mondays. And if you're out there, you're coming in the room, pop up, say what's up to your boy. And I'm about to share this to my top 4 or 5 contacts. I ask if you all would do the same thing, because y'all know if they don't grow with you, they can't go with you. So y'all, if you would, please share this bread-breaking message out there with friends, family, co-workers, boyfriends, cousins, nephews, nieces. Go ahead and just send it out, man. Because to me, the difference between where a person is today and where they want to go is the amount of information that they're taking and they're living out in their lives. So if you would, please, you would do me a huge favor if you share this out to all your friends and your family and let them know that the motivational teacher has gone live. I'm going to share this out to a couple more people. It would be a blessing again if you did it. I'm starting to see the eyes come on, man. As you come on, say what's up to your boy. I like to know what social media platforms are actually giving messages. So if you're out there, you see it, man, say what's up so I'll know. Hey, Angelique, thank you. I see YouTube is online right now. I see a couple of eyes on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, man, shout your boy out as I share this out 1 or 2 more places to some people that's going to grow with me so we can go together. And man, I'm telling you, this path is already lonely. If you have an opportunity to share this information with someone and have you not take this path all alone, please do, because it's lonely in itself. All right. Anybody out there, you got this message for me, just know I sent it to you so we can go together. Here we go. Let's commence to the bread breaking. And I know this is a holiday weekend. Trust me, I know it's a holiday weekend, but I got something on my mind that I got to get off, because I believe that not just me is in this place, but I believe that there are others of us that are in this same place. And today, for a brief moment, because the brother ain't ate dinner yet. Hey, Rajetta, thanks for joining us tonight. For a brief moment, I want to talk about keeping your head. Yeah, I said that. When you have big goals and big dreams and where you want to go where no person has gone in your lineage before, it is going to require that you keep your head, because you will be encountered with situations. You will be encountered with circumstances, and people will try you that you don't even know, for the simple fact that I think there's a test to see if you qualify for the blessing. I'm going somewhere tonight. I'm talking about keeping your head. I know in life we make problems and we make situations and we make circumstances seem like they're not all connected to the big picture of me moving into the motivational teacher, or moving into the artist, or moving into that dream job, or getting that promotion. Every situation, every moment is all tied. Come on, hear your boy. It's all tied to you getting to that wealthy place, or you getting to that place where your destiny and your goals are. And I don't think that there are any circumstances that God has not foreseen before us, or that he did not know that was going to happen. I'm breaking bread right now. Even the things that don't work for our good are moments in time or lessons in life for us to get some on-the-job training. And I think what most of us do is that we see setbacks and we see situations or problems as a place of that it might not be meant for me right now, or it might not be my time right now, or it must be for somebody else to do, or it's becoming too hard for me to do it. So I decide that this must be in somebody else's wheelhouse to complete this mission. And we walk away from what God has given us. Why? Because we didn't keep our head. I remember I was introduced to this poem "If" by Rudyard Kipling in 2010. And I can't get this poem away from my life, or I can't dismiss. I found myself in situations quoting the poem or the first stanza of the poem "If." And it says, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and they're blaming you. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and they're blaming you, saying that if I can maintain a countenance, I'm gonna say this, of gratitude. If I can maintain a countenance of gratitude when everybody else around me is saying that I can't do it, or I'm the reason why the family is in the situation it is, or I'm the person, I've gone too hard, I've tried too much, I've given too much money. Can I keep my head when all about you are losing theirs? I don't allow what they think to infiltrate what I think. I don't allow for what they believe to infiltrate what I believe. I don't allow for their stinking thinking to infiltrate my attitude of gratitude. If I can keep my head, oh my God, that's a bread-breaking moment. That is a bread-breaking moment. If I can keep my head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. There are going to be situations and times in your life, ladies and gentlemen, where we believe, I'm telling you, I know without a shadow of a doubt, and I asked God to search my heart. I had a situation happen to me. I'm telling you, this first 6 months of this year has been trial by fire. It's been situation after situation, none that I caused intentionally, or none that I thought I was the aggressor, or none that I thought I was the person that caused it. But there's a true enemy out there fighting against what God wants to do for us. There's a true enemy that's trying to steal, kill, and destroy you from your destiny of which you've been given before the foundation of the earth. And it's so important that you learn to keep your head, because when you're challenged or when you're under attack, you don't respond from your emotions, you respond from your head. You're able to keep your head. Hey, Vaniqua, thanks for joining us. And they're blaming it all on you. And the next line, and I'm only going to do the first stanza, and the next line in the first stanza says, after you can keep your head, if you can trust yourself, when all men doubt you, but make an allowance for their doubting too. Come on, man. No, if you can trust yourself, or I like to say, if you can trust the great I am, which your awakened I am, when all men doubt you. Oh my God, that's a bread-breaking moment right there. You have a true enemy that's been after your self-identity from the time you were slapped on the bottom by the doctor. Your environment that you grew up in was the enemy after who you were. That the negative comments that people said about you, don't blame them. I'm so angry at my mom, or I'm so angry at my uncle, or I'm so angry at my grandfather that they said this about me. No, baby, you mad at the wrong people. It wasn't them. It was the enemy. That was a spirit. That was something behind them trying to get you to not be able to trust yourself. Oh my God, that's a bread-breaking moment. Well, my boss didn't want to promote me. No, you're mad and you're showing emotions and you're losing your head at the wrong person. I would take you up on a hill and give all of this I could give to you. Get thee behind me. He wasn't dealing with the person. He was dealing with the spirit. I'm telling you that oh man, I'm getting ahead of myself. Our battle is not in flesh. We don't fight with flesh. The moment we start realizing when I got big goals and when I got big dreams, I got to realize that I'm telling you, there's a true force that does not want you to live out your goals and does not want you to live out your dreams. I'm telling you that situations will happen that you did not cause. I thought that everything I sold for is what I'm going to get in return. I thought that in order for this very bad negative thing to happen to me, I thought I had to sow for it. But I'm telling y'all, hey, what's up, Lavarius? Thanks for joining us. But I'm telling y'all, there's a true enemy out there, identity theft. Identity theft. Some of us, we did nothing but have the same name as another crook. I remember somebody went up to the bank. My wife lost her license, went to the bank, with my wife's license and took out X amount of dollars out the bank. And here I am thinking that that I had to sow for everything that happens negative in my life. That if I sow bountifully, I'll reap bountifully. And I'm thinking that every response, every cause, or every effect in my life had a direct cause to me. Oh, I'm about to break bread to you in a minute. If somebody need to hear where I'm going right now, I thought every effect had a direct cause because of my life. I thought if I sowed, I would reap. Didn't know that I got a true enemy. Oh my God, that there's a true gravitational pull that does not want me to walk in my wealthy place, doesn't want me to sit at the king's table. That's a true enemy that will say, man, oh my God, that would purposely try to pull you down to keep you from your wealthy place. And it's not all the time that you got to sow for it in order to get that. It's called life. I promise you, life is going to slap you upside the head when you least expect it. And I know I was. Oh my God, I've sold, I've tithed, I've offered, I've been in your word, I've been believing. And now this has happened. It looked like I almost went back 10 years. He said, man, I need for you to trust the great I am who awakens your I am, even when you doubt you. I need you to trust the purpose and call that I got on your life. I need you to trust that your future is greater than this one moment. I need for you to trust that there's more on the inside of you than what you see on the outside. I need you to trust yourself when all men doubt you. And this is the piece right here. But making an allowance for their doubting too. Oh my God, that's a bread-breaking moment. That's a bread-breaking moment. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make an allowance for their doubting too. If you can keep your head, not only, this is strong, not only are you not I'm not going to allow people to negatively get in my headspace. I'm not going to allow somebody to tell me what I cannot do. I'm not going to allow stinking thinking people in my circle. I'm not going to allow somebody in my circle that don't believe like I believe. And not only, I know there's people out there that doubt you. Not only are you going to overcome for your doubt, but you're going to overcome, or you're going to make an allowance for that doubting too. You ever heard that my cup runneth over? I believe so much so that your unbelief can't change my level of belief. I believe so much so in the truth that I have from the foundation of the earth that your lies can't take me off my center. After I've done all to do, I'm going to stand. Why? Because the great I am has awakened my I am, and I'm going to make allowance for that doubting too. I've seen too much. I've come from too far. I've slept on floors. You understand? I've had foreclosures. I've had apartments go back. I've had cars go back. I've seen too much. And I know that in all these things, I was more than a conqueror. And I was delivered even in the midst of debt, lack, unbelief. I've been delivered too many times that I know I got to make an allowance for their doubting too. I've been there too many times to know. And some of us right now, some of us might be facing the biggest storm or the biggest challenge or the biggest loss that we've ever faced in our life. And we're having a moment in life, I call it a crisis of belief. And if you're not having one now, at some point you will. I call it a crisis of belief. When you have to look in the mirror and say, I believe. When you have to look in the mirror when all the circumstances, when you got a Category 5 hurricane going on around your life and it seems like nothing is working. And in the midst of that Cat 5 hurricane, you got to keep your head. Boy, I'm breaking bread tonight. You got to keep your head. Why is the head so important? The head contains sensory organs. It contains your 2 eyes, your 2 ears, your nose, your tongue inside your mouth, and it also houses your brain. Together, these organs function as the processing center of your body. Now, I'm about to break bread. I am about to break bread. Why is your head so important? Whatever owns the head owns the body. Whatever owns the head owns the thoughts. Whatever on the head owns the beliefs. Whatever owns the head owns the manifestation. Really owns the day-to-day activity of daily livings of how a person lives. Whatever owns the head. Some of us thought the heart was the most important. Yeah, thank you, Angelique. Some of us thought the heart was the most important. And we're protecting our heart from the wild, we're protecting our heart from all it. But I'm telling you, everything that you believe or everything that you don't believe has been filtered through one of your senses. Oh my God, that's a bread-breaking moment. Everything that you know and that you believe about the earth was filtered through your head and then fed to your heart, either through a thought or an emotion that created a belief for your life. You got your belief system. Your whole belief system was created by your head. I'm breaking bread right now. If you can keep your head, you control the rudders of your life. If you can keep your head, you control the steering wheels that guides your future. Oh my God, if you can keep your head, you own your own future. But too many of us allow information to be passed through our mind. Stop. We allow information to pass through our head to be interpreted by our body and to be interpreted by our heart. Let me change it up a little bit. Your brain is organized to reflect everything you know in your life. Your brain has been organized to reflect everything in your life. It's an artifact to reflect on everything that's happened to you over the course of your life. Your brain has been organized. It is the central intelligence agency of your life. And whatever owns this 6 inches of real estate truly owns your life. There's somebody with unforgiveness on their heart. Well, I was molested as a child, or my dad left at a certain age, or somebody did this to me. And because we allowed that information to filter through our head, and now it's hurt. And now it's depression, and now it's anxiety. And those thoughts and those beliefs are what's governing our body, because we allowed that to be filtered through our head. And now it's governing my body. It's making decisions on autopilot, because I've allowed that to infiltrate my thinking, which now is creating my results. See, this is information that most people don't want us to know, because the only thing that kept slaves in slavery, I'm about to break bread. The thing that kept, what's up, Ron? Hey, Eb. The thing that kept slaves in slavery was lack of information. They knew that if a slave got enough information to realize that they were free, they would eventually want to be emancipated. So if I could keep a slave from increasing their head knowledge and all you're getting, get understanding. If I can keep you from increasing your understanding, I continue to own your mindset. If I own your mindset, then I own your productivity. Oh my God, that's a bread-breaking moment. That's a bread-breaking moment right there. The only reason you are who you are today, because that's what you believe you are. I just broke bread. You got to keep your head. You got people around you shaping your beliefs about you and your life that has no skin in the game. They're not an investor. Oh my, I love that word. They're not an investor in your well-being, but we allow them to speak into our lives to change my headspace and what I believe about myself. I'm gonna break bread right now. I give nobody this real estate up here. I give this real estate to no one. No one owns these 6 inches of my life. I gotta tell you, I don't lease it. I don't lease it. I have to own these 6 inches of my life. I have to make sure I'm cognitive of every thought that goes through this filtering system, because any unchecked thought now turns into a feeling or an emotion, and it dictates on autopilot how I make decisions. I'm breaking bread right now. I am breaking bread. Most of the thoughts and feelings that we have tend to be from our past. You got to keep your head. The thoughts and emotions that you have been set on autopilot, whether it's been on checked or unchecked, real estate through your mind. It has now signaled to your body that we filter in this information every time we make a decision. That's why some of us say, like, I always get to this point and I fall back. Or some of us say, like, every time I'm in a good relationship, he ends up or she ends up not being what I think she is. Why? Because you are on autopilot to where you're filtering the same information the same way, and you're not keeping your head to where you're making decisions from a conscious place. I oftentimes wonder, I think, shifting gears a little bit, I think emotional intelligence is the difference between a person reaching the pinnacle of what they the pinnacle of their destiny and barely getting by. I think it's emotional intelligence. I work for a Fortune 100 company, and I hire people for this company. So I hire people. So I've not had a bad hire in 4 or 5 years. And the reason why is because I don't hire people to do a job. I hire people with a high EQ, high emotional intelligence, and I look at how people overcome complexity. I'm not looking at you telling me what I want to hear on an interview. I want to hear when things didn't work well and how you manage that. I want to hear the time where you almost quit, but you just barely had enough to hang on. I want to hear the time about what challenged you. I love the sales awards and I love all the great things you've done, but I want to hear about the things that don't work, because that tell me more about your emotional intelligence than it does anything else in your life. And how have you been able to be promoted year after year after year in a Fortune 100 company? Because keeping your head. And I'm telling you that the pinnacle of everything you want to be is on the other side of your emotional intelligence. I can't say everything I want to say. Oh my God. I've been this way since I was 5. I let people know I can't say everything I want to say. I can't act out every thought that I have. Why? Because I realize that when you reach it to a certain level, your words and your thoughts, they have consequences. And you have to have a high EQ and you have to have a high filter in order to get to your promised land. I let people know. I always let people know when they get on my nerve. You get on my, listen, you ain't ready. You ain't ready because you believe that you're one way. The only reason you're one way because that's what you allow to filter through your mind and get to your heart. And now you make decisions from that place because that's who you believe you are. You were never created to be a person that just says whatever I want to say. I tell that I keep it 100. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. That's the excuse you tell yourself to keep you average. I just broke bread. A person that cannot keep their head, God cannot trust you with the true riches. You'll never, I'm going to say this, you'll never get there if you don't have emotional intelligence. Why would God trust you with more when you can't manage what you have? I want to be a millionaire. You're not managing the $50,000 well. Why would we increase you with more when you're mismanaging what you have? I'm breaking bread. Come on, Angelique, truth. I'm breaking bread right now, and I know this is not popular. I know this ain't something people want to hear, but this is the stuff that we need in order to grow, in order to get to that wealthy place. I can rah-rah you and tell you about going 120, about going hard, being all this good stuff. I could do that all night. I could break a sweat in this room. I could do it all night, but after the emotions are gone, do you have knowledge enough to be able to get to the next level in your life? I'm telling you, I look for people with high EQs. I don't even search for IQ, intelligence quotient. I'm looking for people that can handle complex situations and know how to prioritize and know how to make decisions at a high level. It's set up. I'm telling you. They say the extra mile is not crowded. When you're going the extra mile, it's not crowded. You know why? Because most people don't grow to the person they need to be to get on that extra mile. That extra mile just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. It happens because I've created a version of myself to where I manage and I filter my thoughts, my emotions, my feelings through my head. You got to keep your head. Together, these organs and functions as the processing center for the body by relaying sensory information to the brain. Humans can also process information faster through the central nervous cluster. Everything, how you smell, how you see, how even your feeling is processed through your brain. How you touch. Well, I don't like onions. How do you know you don't like onions? Other than the fact you tried them when you were 5, and 5-year-olds don't like onions, you don't know if you like onions at 45 or not because you hadn't tried them in 40 years. I don't like healthy drinks. How do you know? You tried one when you were 7, and you've created this perception of who you are based on limited knowledge and limited information. And you've come to the conclusion that this is who I am, when truly that was never who you are. Your environment taught you to be that person. You were never meant to be that person. I grew up. When it was 8 of us in a 3-bedroom trailer. We didn't have a lot, but I grew up with a spirit of poverty on my life. And in the beginning of my life, I could make $100,000. I'll spend $140,000. Or I can have a very good job and I find a way to lose that job. Or I find a way I can have a really big house in a specific area and I can end up finding. Look, why motivational teacher? Because there was a spirit of poverty that no matter what I did in my life, I passed all that influence. YouTube, y'all on fire. I don't know what Facebook at tonight. Thank you, YouTube. That I began to pass all that information through a spirit of poverty. And as that information was passed through that spirit of poverty, it came out on the other side. No matter how much I did, no matter what job I had, it came out on the other side as debt and lack. Why? Because I was filtering everything I was doing through the spirit of poverty. And it always led me back to the same place, which was lack, not enough, unbelief, and me questioning why again. Why? Because I had allowed that spirit of poverty to go through unchecked. My head, I lost my head. And for some of us out there, we're passing information unchecked to our mind, will, and emotions. Unchecked. See, I think when you hear head, just overall, you think leadership or you think government, headship. When you think head, you think government, you think headship, you think leadership. When you think head, can most of us, our head should be the leadership should be the governing part of our body. But how many times have we popped off emotionally? Yeah. And not passed information through our leadership, through our head. And what did it cost us when we popped off emotionally, or when we had this conversation with somebody we shouldn't have had it with, or we made a negative decision out of emotions? Our emotions spoke for us. Like a lot of these kids today, I see them out there because, we work with kids all the time, whether it's with basketball, when we speak to the school systems. We are with kids all the time. A lot of these young people are making decisions, adult decisions, through their emotions. They're making decisions through their emotions. They're going through their mind unchecked. And they're shooting, robbing, and killing people because they don't know. They have no headship. Oh, that's a bread-breaking moment. They have no headship. I'm challenging us to believe and think differently about our life, about who I say I am. Who I say I am. And I'm not saying that you go and uproot everything about you, but you got to question some of the behaviors and some of the thoughts that pass through. I got to question some of my behaviors and see, like, what filter have I allowed to go unchecked? What emotion have I allowed to go unchecked? I love the fact that when God is talking, he say, y'all, take the helmet of salvation. Why do you need the helmet of salvation? Oh my God. Everything that goes through, in, and around your body should be filtered through salvation, which is soteria, nothing missing, nothing lacking, wholeness and soundness. Everything in your life should be filtered through those lenses. I'm telling you, everything in my life, say, you take the helmet of salvation. What is salvation? Salvation root word is soteria. I got nothing missing, nothing lacking, wholeness and soundness. If anything in my life doesn't add up to those four, then I got to check it. I gotta check it. Why doesn't it lead me to wholeness and soundness? Most of us are wearing ourselves out because we go to bed at night and we don't even sleep because we're so worried about what's gonna happen tomorrow and what's gonna come. And trust me, the last month and a half, that's been me. That's been me. That we've been wearing ourselves out. We're asleep and not getting good sleep because we're so frustrated and we're so worried about what's to come. And we own none of the decision in the future of what's going to happen. But we're worn out all day. We're making bad decisions. We're snappy with folks because why? Because of all this information that's going unchecked. We're losing sleep. We're losing productive hours and productive times of our life, all because we have so much information going unchecked. I'm telling you, everything that comes through your lens, you need to filter through the helmet of salvation, which is nothing missing, nothing lacking, wholeness and soundness. If it doesn't lead me to there, then where is this my original thought, or where did it come from? Or how do I change this thought? How do I take this thought captive and begin to put down words that build and edify? It's a bread-breaking moment. I got the artist chiming into this conversation. I've been processing this in my own life, checking if my decisions are moving from previous ideas of myself or if I'm moving to my higher self. Oh my God, you just broke bread. I love that, Vaniqua. Word, Angelique, that is a word all by itself. And in order to do that, you got to incorporate your head. You got to keep your head. Too many of us, I love that, Angelique, because there are too many of us that allowing these words and these thoughts and these behaviors to go around in our life, to your point, unchecked. We don't know if we're going or coming. We don't know where we are. We don't know if we're in the middle of a process, we're at the end of a process. Man, you gotta keep your head involved and engaged in this game. The moment you give up headship, the moment you give up the ability to lead your life, somebody else will lead it for you. And I can promise you, they only want it to benefit them. They only want it to benefit them. There's nobody that's going to be your head. I mean, your husband, the great I am who awakens your I am, but there's nobody who's going to really, really filter that information like you are. Take the helmet of salvation. Everything that passes through my mind is passing through the lens of soteria. I said this last week, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but principalities, powers, and rulers of darkness and wickedness in high places. We're trying to fight a natural physical battle, but when our enemy is not natural, our enemy is not flesh and blood. Your boss that didn't give you your promotion is not your enemy. Your dad that walked out on you when you were a little kid is not your enemy. Your parents coming up on welfare, they are not your enemy. Your child who have bad days and it costs you to have bad days and they don't do things like you want to, they are not your enemy. Your brother or your auntie that mistreated you when you were younger, they are not your enemy. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. We've passed the information through the wrong lens. I'm telling you, there's a whole nother level of living out there that we have to tap into in order to manifest, Angelique's point, our higher self. There's another level out there that I cannot react. I love, one of my mentors says, I never react, I always respond. Reaction means you're taking me to a place for my emotions that I don't care to go. Response means that I included thought. I've kept my head, and now whatever response I make has passed through my helmet of salvation. And when I make this comment, when I respond, just know that there's no reaction. That's a bread-breaking moment. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. I love the fact the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through the pulling down of strongholds. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. How many of us see opposition and we want to just go all in with words and anger and emotions and just want to listen, you got to keep your head. That's not your true enemy. I mean, the moment I start realizing that there are certain people that have been placed in my life just for my growth and maturation. There are people in my life that's just gonna never respond the way I would expect for them to respond because they've been placed in my life for maturation and growth. And and like take this thorn from my side. I'm like, no, I'm gonna sit here in the middle of this. I'm gonna incorporate head knowledge, and I'm going to learn how to overcome this situation. Because the moment I don't, I'll see it 5 years from now, and I got to walk around the same mountain 7 more times. And no, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna learn what's going on in the midst of this process. So when I see it again, I'll know how to manage it. And see, too many of us we're looking for the thorn to be removed from our side. Oh, every time I see this person, I got to snap. No, you don't have to snap. It's time for you to see that person and don't react. You respond differently. It's time for you to see your other side of the family and not react and respond differently. It's time for you to lean into that situation and say, I'm better today than I was yesterday. I'm going to manage it completely different. I'm not going to manage this in my carnality. But right now, I'm trusting the great I am with the pulling down the strongholds. All these things that's kept me bound, we got to pull these down. Strongholds are generational curses. These are behavior that's going on for years and years and years. Right now, I got to trust the great I am that we're going to pull down. I love the word that pull is a verb. There's some physical action on my side in order to change my mindset or in order to filter some of these emotions that I literally have to pull down. Strongholds. There's literally an action on my end that I must do. Angelique said, you're running up my street right there. Vanico said, right there. There's some action that I must do in order for me. I'm breaking bread right now. For me to change to the pulling down of strongholds. This is going to require a fight. I say waging war on mediocrity. Waging war on mediocrity is a fight. I call, my logo is camo. Why? Because it's a fight to get from where I am today to where I want to be tomorrow. That's why so many people die with all their potential back on the inside of them. You got to keep your head. Casting down imaginations. What's an imagination? That's why he's talking about to keep your head, because if you don't cast down imaginations, they become things. That's why so many of us struggle with, we struggle with worry, we struggle with anxiety, we struggle with doubt. Why? Because we're not casting down these imaginations. We allow these thoughts and these threats and these thoughts to run through our mind unchecked. You got to cast down every imagination. Again, another verb. You got to cast it. It requires work on your end. Well, everything on my body just hurt. Well, everything on your body going to continue to hurt because you've allowed that thought to run through your mind so long that now you believe it. And if you believe it, it's true. Oh my God, that's a bread breaking moment. It is true. Cast down every imagination and everything that exalted itself against the knowledge of God. See, that's the piece where I think I'm going to get off this thing. That's the piece where I think most of us miss, because it said, cast out imaginations, every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. See, I think this is what we do. We cast down imaginations, every high thing that exalted itself against Anthony, not the knowledge of God. I'm looking at my life and I'm looking at the things going on in my life, and versus me casting down the imagination of something that exalted itself against God. I'm looking at me and I'm casting it down based on what I know about me. Well, I ain't got enough money, so I must be broke. No, the knowledge of God, not the knowledge of you. The knowledge of God. Well, God said I ain't broke, then that's my standard. What he said is my standard, not what I believe is my standard. And see, we've allowed that to go so unchecked for so long that we believe that what I see is real. He said, no, that ain't real. But you've allowed that information to pass through your head so long that now you believe what you see is real. I'm not, oh my God, I'm finna break bread. See, that's why I'm going to be fine in this world and consistently grow, because I'm not so concerned about what I see today. I'm not so concerned about what I see today, because what I see is not more real than what I know, or casting out everything that exalted itself against it. I ain't got to have the money to know that I have the money, because the great I am already said I was prosperous. So if he already said I'm prosperous, that's even better than having the money, because that means if I need healing, I can get healing. If I need money, I can get money. If I need a breakthrough, if I need a miracle, I got access to it, because that's what he said. But so many of us are looking at, well, I got these pains, so I'm just so sick. No. I'm the heal, maintaining my health, because that's my standard. The knowledge of God is my standard, not the knowledge of how I feel. You got too many thoughts going unchecked. And you say, how am I going to get to my goals? How am I going to get to my dreams? How am I going to build that business? How am I going to create that foundation? How am I going to be a millionaire status? You got to cast down imagination and everything that exalted itself against the knowledge of God, of what God said about you. And all you're getting, you get understanding. You get understanding. The more understanding you have, the less of these thoughts will go unchecked in your life. Your life is a series of events, or a series of thoughts that you've allowed to be true in your life, that's create your external manifestation, as all of us make most of our decisions on autopilot. Whatever our autopilot is, we can never outperform. If I believe I'm broke, you'll never outperform. And I told you, I'll pass information through the filter of a spirit of poverty. I could make $120,000. I promise you, I could spend $220,000. I promise you, I could drive a Mercedes a day. That joke will be gone in 2 years. Why? Because I'm still filtering the information through the spirit of poverty. And I couldn't outperform that, because that's what my belief system. I allow too many thoughts to go unchecked. You got to keep your head. Don't allow those thoughts to go through unchecked in your mind. You own these 6 inches of real estate. Well, I want to own all these properties. I want to own this house. I want to own this business. I want this car. I want this nonprofit organization. We got all this other real estate that we want to own, and all these other dreams that we want to accomplish. But if I don't first own this real estate, it's impossible for me to own that real estate. Just know that everything that is and is to come is tied to what you believe and what you're owning in your own mind. Man, this felt like an old school motivational Monday right here. I appreciate YouTube. I don't know what's going on with maybe I'm not getting comments from Facebook right now. I see we got eyes on Facebook, but I haven't seen a comment, so I don't know if that destination is getting comments. But I will say, YouTube, thank you all for showing up in the chat box. Angelique, Vaniqua, thank you all for chiming into this conversation. What does God say? I need to hear this message today, no doubt. I appreciate you chiming in. Okay, we're here. I finally got a message from Facebook. Glad to know that it's working. Facebook, y'all real quiet tonight, Dan. Y'all were really quiet. I hope you were quiet because you were thinking that I got to keep my head. And I started this conversation off with a poem by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make an allowance for their doubting too. I'm your boy, the motivational teacher to the masses, asking you again and challenging you to wage war on mediocrity. And until next time, keep fighting the good fight of faith and own your real estate. Your boy is out.
It ain't no friend to me. Wage a war, wage a war, wage a war, wage a war against mediocrity. It ain't no friend to me. Wage a war, wage a war.